Come on, 3 points. Big win, big 3 points for Chelsea in the West London derby. It was a kind of a nervy game, so to speak. But I think overall Chelsea looked pretty dang good. Did not score from open play, but there were some opportunities, some chances, and eventually it was a Cole Palmer penalty won by Raheem Sterling that got us the goal to win the game. So a lot to break down here. Let's get into it just a little bit. We'll start with the lineup for Chelsea. It was Petrovic in goal, Colwill playing a left back position again, Thiago Silva, Axel Disasi, Malo Gusto. Caicedo was that deep lying midfielder, really focusing on the defensive end, and I think he had one of his better games of the year. He's really stacking performances. Enzo Fernandez and Gallagher were playing as 8s. Gallagher was probably a little bit higher up the field as a 10. Sterling Palmer on the wings, and Broja was up front. So, it's a win. It's 4 straight on the bounce at home. Stacking wins is important. And I think when you start to look at learning how to win games, this is important that we're doing it. We're starting to beat some teams that we're supposed to beat in the Premier League. Should have beat Middlesbrough, but that's beside the point. Anyways, you're looking at an average age of out there of 24. That's really young, and that's not a lot of experiences. And Sterling and Silva really skew that. So you're talking about much younger when you start to look at all these pieces. But they're starting to learn. They're starting to learn a little bit about how to win these games. And although it was nervy at the end, they did see it over the line. The first half was sort of interesting. I think Chelsea would have felt that they probably could have had a couple goals in that first half. They did get that penalty near the end where Palmer, cool as ever. What a signing, what a player. He finished it off, and it felt really good to have that lead going into the half, because how many times have we seen where it's 0-0, 0-0, and we give up that goal that goes into half. So it gave us a lot of momentum, but some better interchange. I mean, Fulham definitely kind of set up shop, not as much as Middlesbrough, but they definitely were kind of trying to compact their lines and whatnot. And Paulinho, he's going to be a destroyer in the midfield. He's going to try and stop a lot of things. So it's definitely tough against a pretty good Fulham side that don't have too many players out of their first choice. So started to talk about let's just kind of break it down. Let's talk about the attack, midfield, and then we'll move to defense and goalkeeper. Broja, I'm not sold. I think we kind of know what he is at this point, albeit coming off of that injury. It does take a little bit of time to sort of come back after an ACL, but I just don't see it. I don't think he has a great feel for it right now, and I know strikers kind of dip and dab when it comes to dipping and out of form, and I'm not too sure. Sterling won the penalty, dives a little bit too much for me. Some bad decision-making. Feels a little selfish when he plays. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on him. I see why Poch has him in the squad. I see why he plays him. It's proven production. And he did it again, getting an assist today off winning the penalty. Cole Palmer had some really good moments in this game. Probably could have scored a couple of goals. At least the penalty and that one shot that he probably would like to have back, where he kind of curled it, went over the bar a little bit. You know what you're going to get from him. And that's I think what we want is we want consistency, and we want a baseline performance from him. Gallagher, a little not sold on him either. He just doesn't seem to have his shooting boots, and he seems a little nervous in front of goal. I think it's pretty clear that Carney and Nkunku would be much better in that spot. I think a little bit more clinical, a little bit better when it comes to finishing and just sort of being an attacking option. But Gallagher does a good job winning the ball, so I can't be too frustrated about him. I thought this was Enzo Fernandez's best game of the season thus far. Sort of looked like last year. Seemed like they kind of took the shackles off of him and started to let him play balls over the top and actually do something. I mean, it's better than passing it around the outside. So Enzo was good. Caicedo, I think we need to have a conversation about Caicedo, because he is stacking really good performances. And don't listen to the punditries that don't really watch these games. Listen to the people that watch every single one of these games. He is looking a heck of a lot better than he did. Probably not at Brighton levels yet, but new move, no really preseason with this team at all. I think it's going to take some time, and he's super young, so he just needs to be more consistent, and he's been doing that the last 5-6 games, just cleaning everything up back there. Colwell was pretty good. Nothing, plays probably his best game that I've seen him play at left back. And it's kind of interesting because when you start to look at how this team plays in attack and in defense, I mean, it's really a back three in attack. Colwell pretty much stays back and allows Gusto to go up and take those spaces, and then leaves a lot of room for Sterling and Fernandez to kind of deal up front. So while Colwell is playing left back, it's flexible and he's doing more of a defensive role. I don't think that he is the long-term answer there. I'd like to see him play at center back. But I think if Chilwell's fit, I don't know. Poch is kind of confusing me at some points because I think Chilwell offers a lot going forward, but I think he is a prototypical left back. He knows how to deal with those situations and deal with those wide players. So I'd like to see Colwell slide back in. We'll see. Silva and Disasi, nothing much to say. They did their job. We're pretty clear and getting, I thought the buildup was actually pretty good today. Working out of the back, definitely found some avenues and was able to advance forward. And they handled it. They held a clean sheet, so you can't say anything about that. Gusto, probably lucky to be on the field. Was a orange for me, probably not quite a red, but a pretty bad yellow. So, he's growing and he has a lot of talent. So we're lucky to have him out there when Reece James is not healthy. And Petrovic was incredible. He is the number one goalkeeper in my opinion. I don't think that Sanchez at this point can unseat him unless he has a bad game. But I think Petrovic's distribution is great. I think his saving ability, shot stopping is really good. Fulham's probably unlucky not to score a couple of goals themselves, but Petrovic did the job. So overall, from a team perspective, they did pretty good. Noni came in, was very aggressive on that right hand side, did some good things. Chilwell came in, first game back. You're not going to expect too much. Carney as well. Just get him out there, let him see how he feels. So overall, pretty happy with the entire performance from the group. Would like to start to create a few more chances and get some more shots and just, it was a good game. You have to win these games, and they did. So that's all we can really say on the matter. Poch, on the other hand, I do have some questions about how he is deploying that left back, left wing side. I think not putting Mudryk in this game was a little silly. I can understand Chilwell, just for that defensive aspect, but you got to play Mudryk, and you got to give him a run of games. You saw when you were giving him a run of games how he was performing, and he doesn't do that well off the bench. So I would consider starting him. I think the false nine thing with Palmer didn't really work so well, so you have to get him on the field. You'd like to get Sterling on the field. Madueke is playing good, so it's tough decisions, and I don't think that cultivating a single person's play, development is the most critical thing. But I do think that getting results is big right now because we're eighth. We're in 3 points of 6th in Europa League spot. If you can achieve that through the league, it takes some pressure off of winning one of these cup competitions. So I think Europe is critical, and I think getting there is important, getting more games, and I think more games eventually allows Mudryk to play more, will allow Ugochukwu to play more, will allow Lavia to play more when it gets going. We're going to have a lot of players, so the more games, the better. And that's just kind of how it is. So I'd like to see more from Poch in terms of trying to balance that. We need to win and development and putting players in the position that are going to be here when it matters. Because Sterling's probably not going to be here next year. I mean, maybe, but I think if you can get a fee for him, you'd be pretty happy to do that this summer. Just sort of balance the books a little bit. But I'm not sure. I'm a little wait and see because he does give you some guaranteed production, which you do need and you're not totally sure about from Midwake and Mudryk at this point. So it was an impressive game. It was impressive to see us win. Now we just got to keep stacking them. If we would have beat Middlesbrough, we would be feeling really good right now, winning, 3, 4, 5 games in a row. Now it's all about conditioning, get people fit. You need Nkunku for coming up against Liverpool. You need him against Middlesbrough. You're going to need him against Villa. You're going to need Carney. You're going to need Chilwell. You're going to need these guys. So availability is going to be critical. I'd like to see them get off of their feet for a little while and sort of just be fully ready, because you're gonna have to go at Middlesbrough. They're a tough team. They know how to sit back and defend. You're gonna have the crowd against for you. So critical to win that game and reach a final for this team's development. I know we just kind of talk about this game as a whole. I do like to talk about bigger things, but I think as of right now, you just got to take the win and roll with it. And we'll see how the rest of this window goes down, see if anyone else comes in or leaves, and sort of see how this thing goes. And let's keep stacking some wins, and yeah, let's do that. So I want to thank everybody for tuning into this video. Like I said in the beginning, if you would like, subscribe. Any support is more than welcome. Keeps me motivated to keep doing these things. And I hope to bring another one to you guys in the middle of the week. So I want to thank you. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. We got a lot of snow here in Wisconsin in the States, so trying to battle that. But thank you and have a good night.